So I've been playing a lot of Star Fox Zero lately, all the while desperately trying to find some enjoyment in this otherwise convoluted mess of ideas, but if anything, it gave me the drive to make a video about it, so hey, that's something I guess. This isn't going to be a big in-depth review of sorts, but rather just some of my thoughts about the game and Nintendo's direction with it, and this is all coming from someone who loves Star Fox and its universe. For the most part, this game looks like the Star Fox 64 remake that you would expect. If you've enjoyed traditional Star Fox gameplay in the past and watch any Zero footage with the R-Wing, you'd probably think that it looks fine. But of course the major controversy surrounding this game has been the controls. The game uses the gyroscope to aim, with the target reticle moving around on the TV screen independent from the R-Wing, which moves with the left analog stick. When I began the game, I noticed that, at least while I'm in the R-Wing, you have the option to disable aiming with the motion controls unless you are holding the button you shoot with. So with this, you can control the game pretty nicely and it feels like a normal Star Fox game. The gamepad's cockpit view acts as a bonus more or less and doesn't really impede on the gameplay during these portions. But then you transform into the chicken walker or the tank or the gyro wing and suddenly you are forced to use motion controls in order to properly aim. These vehicles are designed with motion aiming in mind, and while it feels absolutely terrible, I would have less aggression towards these segments if the game didn't allude to giving me a choice with the R-Wing. All in all, moving with the left stick, boosting and braking with the right stick, and aiming with the gamepad's gyroscope all at the same time it's a complete mess. It's an absolute disaster. It doesn't help that the targeting reticle will constantly need to be recalibrated by pressing the Y button. This happens a lot, and it can be really confusing. Then you get to the boss battles, which will take your normal view on the TV away and instead lock onto the boss at all times, forcing you to jump back to the gamepad and use the cockpit view only. It expects you to watch the TV screen so you can avoid missiles, lasers, and whatever barrage of attacks that are coming your way, all while using the gamepad to actually see where you're going and shooting at, and it just does not work well at all. Personally, I hate the cockpit view in Star Fox games. I never liked using it in Star Fox 64, and I don't like using it here. But you know what's cool about 64? It was optional. It was a thing that you could choose to do, whether or not it bettered your own personal experience of the game. But not in Zero, no. The game will decide what kind of control scheme it wants when it feels like it. It doesn't want to give you too much time to adjust to a specific control scheme, instead trying to thrust you into different styles of gameplay all the time just to show off the fact that it's a Wii U game and that the gamepad has a screen on it. Tons of Wii U games either have specific uses for motion controls, mechanics involving the gamepad's touchscreen being used in tandem with the TV screen, or neither. Star Fox Zero wants you to use both. And after spending over 15 hours with this game thus far, I cannot say it's done well at all. Something I've noticed a lot in reviews from those who are more critical of the game is the large amount of responses saying that the controls aren't that bad, and they just take time to get used to. No one is saying that the controls are good. No one is saying that they add anything to the game as a whole and better the experience, only that they work. I feel like this says a lot. To Nintendo, or more specifically Miyamoto, innovation is more important than the game itself. It's a trend that I've seen bits and pieces of pop up in Nintendo's first-party titles over the last decade, and Star Fox Zero has taken this to the absolute extreme. The game is so desperate to use the Wii U's gamepad as much as it can in as many ways as it can, just to provide enough of a unique experience so that you don't question why you bought a Wii U in the first place when all you do is play Smash Bros. With a fucking GameCube adapter. It kind of feels like Nintendo is trying to make up for the fact that the gamepad is kind of stupid and other games, including their own games, don't really give a shit about it. It all goes back to the Wii's lifetime as well, with flicks of the Wii remote replacing the most simplistic of actions that work just fine with a button press, so that there's a reason to use the Wii mode at all. Nintendo had actually started working on a new Star Fox game for the Wii back in 2008, but they scrapped it when they couldn't think of ways to really innovate it enough. So after not being able to come up with a way to make it work on the Wii, they create a new game for the Wii U that is not only a confusing mess of control schemes and ideas to show off the console, but also layer it onto a boring remake of an N64 game that's already a remake of the original Super Nintendo game. Is this all Star Fox is? Is this really what Nintendo views this franchise as? Because yeah, okay, I understand that Adventures kind of fucked a lot of things up, but look at Assault. That game is actually very solid and had a lot of great ideas, even the on-foot combat. You could fly around in your R-Wing destroying enemies before going inside a base, walking around, collecting weapons, destroying generators, what have you, before you hop back out and go into an all-range mode battle. There's a very awesome Star Wars Battlefront style of variety there, and it presented a really cool idea which gave more emphasis on Fox as a character you're playing, rather than just a vehicle. Also, side note, the controls were a lot better when you changed them to the kind that use a C-stick for aiming, because apparently no one knew about that. And so when you don't change it, it kind of plays like shit. A lot of people didn't realize that you could change them, but if you ever happen to go back and play that game, I would recommend that you do that, because it makes it a lot better. I was always hopeful, especially after the release of the abysmal Star Fox Command, that Nintendo would create a sequel to Assault with improved controls and gameplay that really solidified the style that it was going for. But no, they played it safe. They played it safe and they made Star Fox 64 again, while throwing in new bosses and levels to change things up with the gamepad's terrible controls, and even forcing an entire level that just uses the gyro wing, which is the absolute least fun thing to use in the game. Miyamoto wanted something different and new, regardless of if fans of the series liked it or not, spicing things up with a presentation that mirrors a different game that people already like in the hopes that it will help sell the new gimmicks they presented. And sure, based on all the rabid Nintendo fans trying to defend this game's shortcomings and lack of creativity from a company that, to me, used to be known for just that, creativity, I would say Nintendo succeeded with that portion of its consumers. Those who are so desperate for a new Star Fox game that they will blindly ignore its faults and just deal with the controls because it's Star Fox. Yes, it's a Star Fox game, but I've seen glimpses of what Star Fox can be, and this game shits all over that. Just like how Sticker Star and Color Splash are shitting on what Paper Mario could and used to be. I was on the fence for a while about whether or not I would regret my $60 purchase of Star Fox Zero, not because I spent money, but because of the support I'm giving Nintendo. Before, I had strong doubts that Star Fox Zero would be a great experience to me, but I was committed to buying the game as soon as I could to help show Nintendo that people do want Star Fox, and that maybe in the future, us fans could see more games that further improve upon this one. But now, I can't even say that I want that. I don't want Star Fox to die, but I don't want to see the series get dragged through the mud like so many others that I've come to love over the years. At this point, I can only hope that they can hand things off to a developer that actually cares enough to make a great Star Fox game. Otherwise, I'd rather not see Nintendo make another one. Am I telling you not to buy this game? Well, no, because maybe none of this will really apply to you and you'll be able to enjoy the game like plenty of others have. But please, I implore you, if you have any self-respect for yourself as a gamer and a fan of this series or Nintendo in general, don't blindly accept the game's faults because it's Star Fox. This game is a glorified Wii U tech demo released years later than it should have been. If you intend on purchasing this game, wait for a price drop if anything. Even though I absolutely despise Star Fox Zero, at least I can go back to those previous games that I enjoy. And as a Star Fox fan in 2016, that's about all I can be thankful for. Oh, also, little bit of a bonus thing here. The first episode of Matthew Gafford's A Fox in Space was just released recently, and yeah, you should definitely check it out. It's pretty fantastic.